The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the 13th day of August 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill a bit later, brought to you by Peoples. Well, I hope everyone is okay this morning. Another day to forget for Bermuda coming into today, a day where we should be discussing our young cricketers or those young footballers or the students who are leaving Bermuda now to go embark on higher education and different opportunities. But unfortunately, we had another murder, well, double murder yesterday in Bermuda that we will be touching on. But greetings to you all, and thank you so much for joining us and making us a part of your daily routine. A good one today is a bit later. We'll be welcoming Suzie Arruda on to discuss the independent coalition and the movement in Bermuda. The daily play is going to be music today. And audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Questions of the morning is, how can we solve Bermuda's serious crime issue? And just a yes or no. Do you feel safe in Bermuda? Do you feel safe? Suzanne Ingham says, super awesome Wednesday, Jamal and Teo, and a super awesome Wednesday to you as well, Suzanne Ingham. But how can we solve Bermuda's serious crime issue? And do you feel safe in Bermuda? Let me just start by saying this. I'm not going to sit here and give you any fancy words, no speech or monologue or any of that, because at the end of the day, we have these conversations often and nothing really seems to change. I don't think that we should give up having conversations, but I can admit at this point in time that I don't have the answers, which is why I think engaging with all of you on a regular basis is so important so that we can brainstorm and share ideas, but I don't have the answers. I will not sit here and act like I'm intelligent because I have a mic and I have your attention. If I had the answers, if any of us had the answers, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be where we are unless there are people in power who can make the decisions that simply don't want to see what's happening in Bermuda resolved, right? When I made suggestions just about cop match regarding music and alcohol, and people, you know, instead of coming with their solutions, oh, it's always been this way, or it's not this, or it's not that. You know, we're so quick, and this is why, you know, people ask me, why do I like to compliment others? Because think about it, we're much quicker to criticize others than provide solutions or give compliments or big people up and give plaudits, right? It's easier to sit on the side and criticize. So, you know, I can sit here and say, you know, I don't know, you know, the government, maybe they can do more, maybe the police can do more. Maybe the parents can do more. Maybe this, education, teachers can do more. Maybe mentors can do more. Maybe our community clubs can be more. Maybe we can do more. But what I think we can all agree on is, for those with conscience, with a conscience, I don't think we want to see people losing their lives in this manner continuously. And while I may not have the answers, my hope is that together we can find the answers, we can find solutions and find a way to create a safer Bermuda for everyone. I wanted to be here this morning and speaking about the under-19 cricket team, and though they lost yesterday again against Canada, speak about how we can help support them to get them over that hump. And I said over the last few days, I've said a number of times, that is such a good group of young men on that team. Isaiah O'Brien, Zarai Tomlinson, Luke Horan, Luke Fulton, Kellen McIntosh, Keegan Jones, Saki Robinson. I refuse to believe that the majority of our young men don't value life. What we're experiencing right now is a vicious cycle, it seems, in Bermuda. Do we, is it a matter of not giving them enough to aspire to? Years ago, I had a greater connection to what was going on because it was people my age and people I grew up with and my neighbors and classmates and teammates that were involved in this stuff. Today, I don't know any of these young men, so I'm so disconnected. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm disconnected. Most of us are probably disconnected. And being disconnected isn't helpful. But that's where, how do we get there? How do we connect? Or do we just, go about our daily lives and act as if it's contained. It doesn't impact me until it does. When we had the COVID outbreak, the pandemic, we had press conferences every day, right? Do we want to hear more from our premier and political leaders on this? Or would you rather them just do the work? Is this a time where we should hear from Pastor Leroy Bean? Is it something that we say, you know what, there are billions of dollars rolling around on Pitts Bay Road? Is it time for them to pay a social tax to Bermuda? I don't know. I'm sitting here, honestly, as vulnerable as ever, letting you all know I don't have the answers. I honestly do not know. I said what I said about Cop Match and this young liberal lady who believes in lawlessness, right? She says, oh, I don't think we need more rules and laws with adults. What a sick person to me. Because as you all know, I don't believe that we need a lot of laws, but when adults are not acting like adults, yeah, law and order may be required. And what happens at that point is the innocent suffer for the guilty. Do I want to live that way? Absolutely not. Maybe we may have to live that way for a bit. There was this saying when I was young, is they say, someone always knows something. And I'm not talking about after the crime's committed. I'm talking about before. Is there nothing that can be said or done to end this? To ensure these conversations are something of the past? Question of the morning. This is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure Trucking. How can we solve Bermuda's crime issue? What are your thoughts? How can we solve Bermuda's crime issue? I've already told you I don't know. I honestly don't have the answers. And do you feel safe in Bermuda? Nicole Hassel says, most of us, including the government, honestly don't know how to stop this, in my opinion. And I guess we need to be honest about that. And just because we don't know as individuals doesn't mean we can't put our heads together and try to figure it out. Not knowing is not an excuse not to try, right? I thought that we had hit our limit when we lost Kimwande Robinson back in May 2009. And from there, we've lost bodies and bodies and bodies. And then just earlier this year, what's been said as one of Bermuda's first mass shootings. Thought that would have been it. And yet the cycle continues with another broad daylight shooting. You know what's shameful and what's crazy and sick about our society is that one of my chat groups, someone said what I was thinking. And whenever the Bermuda Police Service put out, a press release on the anniversary of a death, I actually have to research because I can't even remember. There's been so many that I can't remember. And I know times change. Cultures evolve, countries evolve. But this is not what we should have and could have evolved into. This is impacting one demographic. And I know that history plays a role in where we are today. But we collectively have to be accountable for what's happening amongst us. I believe that most solutions start within. And as we start to peel back the layers, we understand that it's not as simple as bad governance and leadership or poor parenting or even the music or the culture as it is today. It's deep rooted. And I think I've shared with you when I went to the African American Museum in DC. And you learned that there were no gangs in Los Angeles in, say, 1970. And within a 5-year span, there were 200 something gangs. We understand when you kind of go to the root, and this is not an excuse for what we allow today, but we have to address the root. I think the truth scares us because the truth means that it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to make us uncomfortable. And for everyone who goes to their fancy job and makes their fancy salary, thinking that I don't live in that world, it won't impact me. Maybe not today, but if it continues down this road, it will eventually. And we don't want that. None of us do. So it would be in all of our best interest, to figure out what we can do to help resolve this. Let's go to the audience. How can we resolve Bermuda's serious crime issue? And do you feel safe in Bermuda? Hedeline Swan, sorry. says, extremely yes, I do feel very safe in Bermuda. Charles H. Jefferson II says, I don't have the answers, but I think we're fooling ourselves if we don't think what we saw on off field at Cup Match isn't related to what we saw yesterday when it comes to conflict resolution. No, well, Charles, I mean, there are people who responded to what I had to say regarding Cup Match as if I was wrong, and maybe I was, and it's not. We've always had this in our community, and I just I don't want to come across as that person, but I'm gonna share something I said privately. I don't know what's fried our brains more. Is it the substances or the influences? And when I mean influences, what we've taken on from other cultures, be it TV, music. But man, sometimes I'm just like, our brains are fried. Because if we can make excuses to say, oh, well, we always had, no, there was decorum in our society before. There was some sort of decorum. There was respect. We love to collectively take shots at Dr. Maria Seaman. But I tell you, the way things are going, one day we may look back and she may be on the right side of history on a lot of stuff. Because life it's cycles, right? There's conservatism, then there's liberalism, then there's conservatism, and weird to me. But I guarantee you, she may actually end up on the right side of history on a lot of things. But because we don't like her about something, she's wrong about everything else. She and many others have told us what was going to happen. That doesn't mean we have to agree with everything she says or does. Two things can be true, or many things can be. Kajay Matthew says, good morning, TDH community. Yes, I feel safe. My opinion to solve the problem is by everyone continuing to support the youth and not criticize them. Opportunity develops growth. I actually like this because, in supporting these young cricket players, I'm not bothered by them losing. I'm not bothered by how much they're losing. I'm encouraged by the sportsmanship. I'm encouraged by the brotherhood. I'm encouraged that they'll get this experience, but also I want to see how they respond to these devastating losses. They are contributing to our country. And with our support, I'm hopeful that other generations will see what they are doing and want to do that too. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, good morning, waking up to see the headline on the Daily is sad news. He goes on to say the sad part is that we, the community, want the government to fix the issue, but the fact of the matter, this issue of murder falls on all of us. Dr. Anthony Richardson, does he feel safe in Bermuda? Says, no, I don't. We need to dust off the several reports made concerning gangs in Bermuda for solutions. I think people forget that for years, people denied there were gangs in Bermuda. We denied that this was a thing or going to be a thing. Our government officials ignored it. We did. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, no, I don't feel safe in some places in my island home. I keep my head on a swivel and always mindful of my surroundings. Suzanne Ingham says, we've not always had this in our community. That is not true. Well, some people said we've always had music with and people smoking and drinking freely. And, my response to it is we had decorum back then. I know you smelled it, but you never saw people openly smoking when I grew up. When, right now it's literally, you see the joint right in the person's hand while the child's sitting right next to them. There was decorum when I was a child. When my cousin and I would be up St. Monica's for a Friday church youth group or something. I didn't realize what these guys were hiding from us until I became a teenager. Oh, that's what they were doing back in the day. Now it's like it's free. Like you're training another generation for this stuff. Right? There was decorum. There was respect. Shamari Sky is the only place in the world where the most dangerous location is a stone's throw away from the police headquarters, not the police station, the literally police headquarters. Shaking my head. Sean Smith says Jamaica is currently experiencing a 50% reduction in crime. We should reach out to them to find out what they're doing. Well, our police commissioner, Darren Simons, was actually giving a speech about how Jamaica has done well and how they, pretty much are an example of us to follow. Yeah. Someone said on one of Trevor Lindsay's stories, oh, name a country that's reduced crime or something like that. And somebody responded, El Salvador, duh. And I'm like, yeah, El Salvador. Like we sit around and we act like, people would say stuff, well, name a country that's done it. Folks, one thing the internet has done, especially Facebook and social media, is expose the mathematicians, meaning people who may know 1 + 1, but don't know how to spell or read. But it's also exposed how lazy we are. With the internet, it's more than just going on and sharing your perspectives. It actually gives you the opportunity to have access to information that's free. There are many countries that have had very bad crime rates, El Salvador being one, and how they reduced it. It can be done. But as long as we have this attitude that we're protective of people and things, maybe governments or family members, then we get the community that we deserve. At the end of the day, this is impacting one demographic disproportionately. A community problem that's impacting us all. But one demographic seems to be impacted disproportionately. I used to work in tourism, and I would travel to different places, and they would say to me back then, between 2012 and 2018, that, oh, Bermuda seems to have crime these days. It never had that when I was sending so many people to Bermuda. And I would compare it to that of Colorado, because I think they were one of the first states to make marijuana legal. And I said, it's like that. We don't know what the impact's going to be for another 10 to 15 years socially. But we see the impact of what big business may have done to Bermuda socially. It's easy to blame parents, but not all parents who have children involved in this are bad people. Some literally are trying their best to support their families. And I'm talking about 2-parent households that struggle. And they have to, both parents work 2 jobs to keep up with the economy. And so who's left to raise their children? And we can sit back and say, well, why are they having children? Well, we need people, don't we? We have a monstrous problem on our hands. And I don't think any of us collectively know how to solve it. We all want to see it solved, but I'm not quite sure we know how to solve it. I'm going to say something that's going to piss a lot of people off, but sometimes the truth does that. I keep saying that this is disproportionately impacted one demographic, and that's Black people, young Black men in particular. Black people in Bermuda, you all need to focus. You've been distracted by all this liberalism that has been detrimental this conservatism that has been detrimental, this intersectionality that has been detrimental, you all need to focus on raising your little black boys. That's where your focus needs to be. Stop doing what they tell you to do. Stop taking up battles that they want you to fight. We've got problems. Stop being distracted by other people's fights and focus on the problems right in front of you. We keep talking about Bermuda needs people and bringing Bermudians back home or bringing non-Bermudians in to make up the numbers. How about keeping those in Bermuda alive? Focus. Black Bermudians are way too distracted with everything that has nothing to do with them. We love to talk about the Democrats and Republicans and some orange president and this and that. You all need to focus and stop allowing others to tell you what's important and what to fight for. Bermuda's problems are not the same as the United States. They're not the same as in the UK. They are uniquely yours. Focus. Focus. And I'm not here expecting everyone to agree with me. You won't, because all of you get in your feelings. This is not about feelings. This is about life and death. Life and death. That's what we're talking about here. Take your feelings somewhere else this morning. Let's pay some love and respect to Titan Express and Secure Trucking. We'll have a news break from Teo. And don't forget, we've got Suzie Arruda coming up talking about the People's Independent Coalition. They're even more important than ever because they're giving us an alternative to what we have today.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty. Read this comment before I go to the news break with Teo. Shamari Sky says, I walked in a prominent business and heard the radio playing a song about shooting young Black men. No one in the store seemed concerned, but I wondered if the song wasn't about killing young Black men and instead the same artist was talking about killing people from other groups. Would that song be mainstream? No. Shamari Sky, send me a private message. Let me know the store, please. And let's have a conversation about that. Please give me a shout privately. But I'll say this much. You know, even people who were on there, I'm arguing with someone this morning saying it's not about the music. It's not about the music. It's everything to do with it. Stop making excuses. Again, like, folks, let me help you understand. And I'm sorry I'm spending so much time on this morning. And I'm grateful Suzie is so patient and really passionate about giving back to our country politically. But I've spent a few days over the last week with some young men representing Bermuda. And win or lose, these young men have made me a believer that there's more good among us than bad. These young men have a level of support that's required to ensure that the next generation of Bermudians or Bermuda is in great hands. But then we're losing some. We're losing many. Anybody heard from David Burke? Let's go to the news break with Teo Deal.
Welcome to your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. And remember to refill your prescriptions for your students heading overseas to school at People's Pharmacy. Talk to their pharmacist if you need additional medical supplies for a healthy start to the school year. Now, 3 people were shot on Court Street yesterday afternoon, and 2 of the victims have died as a result of this tragic event. This from the BPS, with Acting Detective Superintendent Jason Smith sharing some key details identifying the shooters on the scene.
The rider of the bike, and the bike is described as a black or dark-colored motorcycle. There were 2 persons, there were 2 men on this motorbike. The rider was wearing a black helmet, a balaclava, long-sleeve blue top, a gray sweatpants, colored or tan boots, and the passenger was wearing a black full-face helmet and a multi-colored top.
ADS Smith added that the new island-wide CCTV system should be useful in bringing the shooters to justice.
As always in these cases, CCTV is a very critical part, and we have persons who are out at the moment looking at that, canvassing that, trying to identify that. And once we get that, we hope that's going to be a key part and the direction in which our investigation can take.
And in other news from the BPS, the death of 54-year-old Jason Liebert has been tragically confirmed. As you recall, his lifeless body was found in the area of Fenton's Drive in Pembroke last Sunday. Mr. Liebert was pronounced dead by an on-call physician shortly after his body was found by an area resident. The investigation into the matter is still ongoing, and an autopsy will be completed soon to determine Mr. Liebert's specific cause of death. If you have any information, reach out to Acting DI Anika Donawa on 717-2250 or adonawa@bps.bm. And the first formal meeting of the Bermuda Stablecoin Association has taken place. This organization, established by Penrose Partners and the Apex Group, includes all the top-level international digital asset firms that have a local footprint. The formal launch of the association included all members affirming the consensus view that the BSA will be a collaborative, industry-led space to affirm and facilitate the adoption and institutional standard setting of stablecoins. Now, all that said, in case you were wondering, here's a short explainer of what stablecoins actually are and why they are one of the most solid components of the new global crypto economy.
For years, stablecoins' consistent value, combined with the lack of friction, have made them a favoured method of buying other, more volatile digital assets, instead of using fiat currencies. It has also made them an effective dollar alternative in parts of the world where access can be more limited. But companies are increasingly pitching stablecoins as a payment system for the non-crypto world, arguing that they can provide faster and cheap money transmission around the globe. This is best reflected in the ambitions of Coinbase and Circle's USD Coin, and Pax Dollar, which is currently working with Meta's digital wallet Novi to run a pilot scheme in parts of the US and Guatemala.
And as far as our weather's concerned, a soft chunk of low pressure cutting into our airspace will dump some clouds and rain onto the island for at least the first half of today before conditions return to bright, clear, and sunny skies for the rest of the week, with mostly gentle breezes, near average temperatures, and maybe a shower or 2 here and there. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Back to the show.
Thank you so much for that, Teo. I never ever tell our news team what to report as far as news, but I know they do not like to report about road fatalities and murders and the like. Unfortunately, that's something that you all have told us. We can't ignore it. We have to address it. And let me just say this before we go to news, the commercial. I think, everything reflects leadership, right? I wrote a letter to the editor a couple years ago about leadership and the premier drinking at cop match and the like. Let me be clear. When things like this happen in our community, people turn to the leader. It's like on the football pitch, they turn to the captain, they turn to the coach. I think people are turned to leadership, and I think it is a political strategy to keep David Burt away and kind of let Michael Weeks or whoever the ministers are responsible deal with this. But this is not normal. A mass shooting in April, May, and then this is broad daylight, right? This is not normal. So I think put the politics aside, the strategy aside, and just address it. Let people know where you stand, what you are doing to hold your ministers accountable as far as making sure that some things happen. I think that's what people are looking for. They don't want to hear from you either. But at times, you need to appear to show that you have a group of people working to ensure that Bermuda is working to resolve this issue. Days of the year. It is International Left-Handers Day. And folks, I think I learned recently that my father is a lefty. Yeah, my father's a lefty. If you're a left-hander out there, let us know. But big up to all the left-handers out there. We appreciate you. You're different, but we appreciate you. It's a good different, don't worry. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with a very special guest today. We've got Suzie Arruda, and we're going to be talking about the independents. None were successful in this past election, but I mentioned earlier, liberalism and conservatism, we're always choosing between two. There are other options, but why don't we ever seek them? Stick with us. In the meantime, whatever platform you're on, streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, love, a like. And to everyone tuned in on Hot 107.5, don't thank you enough. So thank you for rocking with us. And if you feel like it, just put some video or something online to let us know you're tuned in. Who knows? We may reward you with something. Stick with us. We'll be back in a few.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Ready to take your financial game to the next level? HSBC is here to help you power up your financial fitness. Your strategy should be sharp and ready for anything, because luck won't get you to the top. Whether securing your future, growing wealth, or planning for life's next serve, HSBC's experts are here for you. From budgeting to investing, let's craft a plan as unique as your goals. Plus, get free financial planning consultations to stay on track. Learn more at hsbc.bm/financial planning. HSBC Bank Bermuda is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
96 degrees, real hot, oh yes.
Summer's heating up, but your home, it can chill. BAC is turning down the heat with 20% off Carrier X-Power mini split AC units. They're sleek, whisper quiet, and smart thanks to energy-saving inverter technology. New install, upgrade, doesn't matter. Just don't miss out. For a limited time, get 20% off when you pay with cash, credit, or debit.
96 degrees, real hot.
Swing by BAC on Mill Creek Road today.
Take a look at our walkway for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Alrighty. Thank you so much for rocking with us. Welcome back to The Big Show. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. And one more time, folks, whether you are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, take this moment to give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Help us beat the algorithm. It is Lefty Day, and Nicole Walker says she's a lefty. Dr. Anthony Richardson said lefty but forced to write with right, able to write with and use both hands. Incredible. And Nico de Shield says, back in the day, lefties were forced to write right. Really? I did not know that. Interesting. Anyway, let's give a warm TDH welcome to our very special guest today. She's a friend of the show. She's been on before. Welcome, Suzie Arruda.
Good morning, Jamel. Good morning, Bermuda.
Good morning and happy Wednesday to you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I think quite a heavy topic this morning, and we this conversation obviously was planned way before we knew that there would be such things happening.
Sure.
Such as a double murder. So before we jump into the conversation, did you want to say anything about this latest double murder that has taken place in Bermuda?
Certainly. I mean, this is definitely a topic that needs to be discussed. I want to send my condolences, not just to the family of the victims, but to the entire Bermuda community. I mean, because 6 degrees of separation with everybody that we know in Bermuda. I mean, you've touched on a topic that is very important. I mean, I'm overseas at the moment, and I saw this yesterday as I'm scrolling through the Royal Gazette and TNN, and excuse me, I frankly was absolutely shocked. I mean, to see something happen like that in our island home, I just, to me, it still affects me, and I hope it continues to affect people. I don't want people to become numb to the incident and say, okay, it's happened, it's going to happen again, let's move on and get on with our lives. Unfortunately, there are, as you said, young Black males that are being affected by this, and we can't continue to put a Band-Aid on what is happening. We have to get down to what the core issue is and see how we can address that core issue, because an apple always looks so pretty on the outside, and you might have a pinprick here or there and you say, oh, that's the bad part. But when you cut it in the center, if the core is rotten, that whole apple is just going to be destroyed. And I think that's what's happening. We need to get down to where the core issue of it is and see how we can fix that and give support to friends and family and to these young Black males, and listen to them and see what their issues are, why they are not being heard, and why they're acting out the way that they are.
Thank you so much, Suzie. And thank you for your approach to everything, not afraid to, address something head on. But hopefully this can be a thing of the past. This can be something that, as I said at the beginning of the show, I don't have the answers. I don't know what to do. But through conversations, hopefully we can all, come up with ideas and ensure that these things become something of the past. I don't know if it's hope, I don't know if it's opportunity, but thank you for your words just now. People's Independent Coalition. The purpose was to bring some independent voices together. Let's go back real quickly. What inspired the movement, and why do you believe right now is the right time? And you heard me earlier speaking about it's like we believe it's either conservatism or liberalism, and there's no in between. Like, we have to be a part of a team. But can you speak to why you believe Bermuda is the right time for such independent voices to come together?
When the independents came together, as we know, it was a movement started initially by Sir John Swan. A lot of people bought into the idea of having an alternative. The party system has had its place and probably will continue to have its place for some people in Bermuda. We just wanted to give people an alternative. There were people who came out and voted for the independents. I mean, I think the independents did a great showing at the last election, and we want to say thank you to all of the supporters. But change is always uncomfortable for people, and not knowing what you're going to get is uncomfortable as well. And I can understand that. You have a two-party system that's been in play for years, and that's all that people have known, and that's what people are comfortable with. Getting something that you don't know how it's going to work is uncomfortable. And that's what, and I think just the numbers that came out to vote showed a lot that, first of all, people are maybe looking for an alternative, but not sure what that alternative was. Was it the independents at that point? Maybe not. Will they be in the future? Again, maybe not. It all depends on a person's view and how they want to see change happen. The independents are very hopeful that we can coalesce together and in the next general election really make a dent. Maybe, getting a few of us elected. But it all depends on people's appetite for change and also people seeing that there's hope. And I think that's what the independents were running on and what we are still running on. I think the numbers that came out, the low turnout actually to the election, just gave me one word that came to mind, and that was hopelessness. People did not have hope. They saw that as, my vote, my voice, my opinion, it doesn't count. So why am I even going to bother? And, that was a very sad part of the election for me.
So what do you, and again, I think there's a correlation in so much in our small community. But what do you believe the overall results told us about Bermuda as it relates not just to the independents, but just our community as a whole?
That it's almost like they don't even care anymore. I mean, when you're going to let a extremely small group of people choose your future, your government, the people that are going to shape your lives, change your laws, move your country into the future. I mean, that says a lot. If you really don't care at that point, we've got a serious problem on our hands. And I don't know if it was just that people didn't see an option, that people were fed up, that people just didn't care, that people were hopeless. I don't know. But that's how I saw this last election. And it's very unfortunate.
Indeed. The People's Independent Coalition's pledge includes working collectively on issues such as cost of living, healthcare, education, economic fairness. How can independent voices maintain unity while staying true to their individual perspectives?
So what the independents have tried to do, or what we want to do, is speak on topics that are important to the community and try and come up with solutions. I mean, let's be honest, in every political party, not everybody agrees. There are going to be people who think one topic is more important than the other topic. And that's going to happen with the independents. We're not here trying to say that we're all peaches and cream and unicorns and rainbows. It's not going to happen. Some of us agree on certain topics and are very strong and feel very strongly about certain topics, while others have their interests in other topics. And that's okay. But the groups that are coming together are the ones that want to work on specific topics. So, for example, with what just happened, you're going to have groups that want to come together and look at the crime issue. Then you're going to have groups that want to come together and look at the healthcare issue. And then you're going to have groups that want to come together and look at the financial issue. You can't have one person jumping around in all of these groups. That's one thing that will not work. So an independent, each one of us have our strong suits, and we want to coalesce with other independents that have those strong suits, get together, discuss things very much like happens now, and come up with solutions and present them. And I mean, we're not opposed to presenting them to the OBA or presenting them to the PLP, to the government, say, hey guys, here's what we've thought. Do you think this is a good idea? Can we work together to try and implement these things?
That makes sense, Suzie. Thank you for that. And that brings me to the independent. You have no one in the House representing the People's Independent Coalition. So how do you hold those in the House and the Senate accountable? Like, what does that look like for the public?
Well, each one of us has to take on responsibility. And when we see something that we don't think is correct, we need to speak out via interviews, pieces in the paper. But at the same time, we also need to say, when we see something that the government has done well, or another institution has done well, we need to also give them kudos, because we believe in politics. That's one thing that's missing. We're always on the negative, always on the defensive. You've done this wrong, you've done that wrong. God, if the government has done something that has, brought something to the community, praise them for it, celebrate them for it. Why can't we do that as well? Even as an opposition, okay, you're called the opposition, but at the same time, you have to work together. I mean, if you're continuously butting heads against each other, I don't understand how anything gets done. So at some point, that's the only way that we can keep them accountable, is by going to both parties and saying, look, I think you're doing this right. I think you're doing that wrong. Putting things out in the paper, coming on shows like yours and saying, this is what I think about this particular topic. I think that the minister or this minister should do it this way or that way. I mean, because we don't have representation, we have to be in your face on a constant basis. And also we have to have the support of the community. If we don't have the support of the community, all we're doing is for nothing.
Indeed. Audience, I'll get to your questions and comments. For those who are tuned in on Hot 1075, we're speaking with Suzie Arruda, part of the People's Independent Coalition. We have a two-party system, basically. And that's not to disrespect the FDM at all, but the two parties, when I say two-party system, the ones who are represented in the House and the Senate. What's the biggest challenge to breaking through that?
It's changing people's mindsets. I mean, the independent movement was something very different, very new, and it came in a very short period of time. So people didn't have the opportunity to really understand what we were trying to do. So the People's Independent Coalition came out of the independents really going out and speaking to our constituents and finding out, what they wanted from us or what they wanted to see in an independent. And a lot of them didn't understand how independents were going to come together and work together as a group. So that's how the People's Independent Coalition came about. But it's really a civic entity. We want to empower the people. That we really want to empower them to share information with them and say, guys, this is how things work. You can get involved in the political system without running in an election and being a candidate. You can enact change by having the information that apparently, it is not out there. It's not easily accessible. And that's what we want to do. We want people to be able to come along, support, become members of the coalition without fear of being labeled as you're this party or you're that party, or my boss doesn't want me to be involved in any political parties or whatever. You're not involved in a political party if you're with the coalition. If you're a member of the coalition, you're getting information, you're helping to better your community in a nonpartisan way. That's what we want. It's not about we want to be in power and we want to, flex our muscle. It's about doing what is right and best for Bermuda. And all of the independents, if we have nothing else in common, that's what we have in common. And we want to bring the community along with us in doing that.
Thank you for that. I'm going to go to the audience, got quite a few questions and comments. We'll start with Shamari Sky. He's asking, what key issues do the independent members of the Independent Coalition align collectively with? And how does their view differ from other political parties' views in terms of solutions?
Well, the ones that we align on, of course, is healthcare is a very big one. We say cost of living, that kind of covers everything, but healthcare is a big one. Definitely the crime situation, especially now with what this has happened. We do align on those kinds of things. How do the views differ from political parties? I've never been in a political party. I can't speak to see how they actually function on the inside. All I can say is that we do not throw any idea off the table. We take a look at everything. And of course, there are going to be different views. Some people are going to be a bit more extreme than others, and some people are going to be a bit more conservative. But we like to look at all the ideas, discuss our ideas, and come to some kind of consensus about how we can meet everybody halfway.
We've got Mark Arthur C. Phillips asking, what will the Independent Coalition do to educate the public on the benefits of an independent candidate? Yes,
that's a very good question. We want to first educate the public on how the complete political system works. An independent candidate can be very effective in the House. And we can show how that has been done in the UK. It's been done in Cayman. It's been done in Isle of Man. And it's been very successful. We're going to start putting out information papers. We actually have a coalition charter that we're working on right now that all the members are going to review. And we're going to put that out to the public as well. But I think the one key piece that's missing is that the public does not know how the general political system in Bermuda works. I mean, I've had quite a number of people say to me, oh, they think that the premier is becomes the premier by popular vote. He's the one who gets the most votes in his party, and he's the head of the party. And that's not how the premier is elected. So it's those kinds of things that people need to be educated on so they can say, oh, okay, if that works this way, then an independent can still fill this position in that way. So it's just a matter of us getting all the information out, and we're working on that. And we have been working on it over the summer. We know that the summer is a strange time in Bermuda. People are traveling, people are doing lots of other things. Children have to go back to school. So you'll really see us kind of really ramp up things in September, not just with information being put out on the website, but we're going to be holding a lot of informative town halls, not just on how the political system works, but how you can get life insurance and how important that is for people. You're really just educating them on all aspects of their lives and how they can better their lives.
Indeed. We've got Charles H. Jeffers II asking, how does Ms. Arruda respond to those who call the coalition a new political party? Does it matter? Should we care?
Well, when we first came out, we saw what the reaction was. I mean, can we change people's minds? I think we can by just showing them the information that we have, how this thing is going to be structured. Now, people are going to make up their own minds. We can't tell you, no, we are not a political party, and somebody says, yes, we are, and that's all that they believe. The best that we can do is that we can give you the information. We want you to make up your minds yourselves. And we want you to reach out to us. Send us, reach out to your independent candidate. See if they're a part of the coalition. Ask them questions. Go on our website. Send us questions as well. People need to form their own opinions with the information that they have. And I think that's very important. Don't just listen to your neighbor and say, he says, oh, they're a political party and they're lying to us. And, because we've had that a lot since we launched it. And, but we try and listen to the person, try and understand why they think that way, and try and give them the information so that they can make a more informed decision. Now, if they land on the fact that they think we're a political party and we can't change it, then we can't change it. The most we can do is just continue to work for the community and give them all the information that we can so that they can make a better informed decision.
We've got Amari Simons asking, do the independent candidates feel a sense of loyalty to Sir John Swan? How can the public be sure the movement isn't a reflection of his will? A sense of loyalty to Sir John Swan. I think a lot of people, not just the independent candidates, have a loyalty to Sir John Swan because of what he's done for our community. I mean, let's be honest, whether you like him or not, he has done a lot for Bermuda. He's still the man that you can pick up the phone at any point in time, call, and he will see you regardless of what walk of life you are. And, if you come from Front Street or you come from Court Street, it doesn't matter to him. So is there a sense of loyalty? We're grateful that he started something that gives people the option. Will we look to him occasionally for his guidance? We will. But it isn't a reflection of his will. As he stated, that's it. He's out of the game. He's not going to be involved in politics anymore, but I do not think he'd be opposed to providing some information or advice that we would need, just like any other former political candidate or political member of a party. If they have information and knowledge that we can garner and that we can move Bermuda forward with, I don't see why we shouldn't be able to use that knowledge. Indeed. Dr. Anthony Richardson asking, how do you avoid being manipulated by the mainstream parties, removing your aura of being independent of the mainstream parties?
We've had a lot, and anybody else will tell you this, a lot of the independent candidates have been approached by all political parties to have them join. I am not aware of any independent candidate at this point who has given the nod to step into that the party system arena. They're going to do what they need to do. As people saw when we first announced, the first thing that came out of both political parties' mouths were, oh, here they are. They're finally admitting they're a party. Where's your party constitution? And we couldn't present one because we're not a party. We will do our best to keep things clean, and we have a code of conduct that we're having members sign as well, because it's not about always trying to make somebody look bad, bashing the person. See, here they go again. They said they weren't, but they are. We're not going to get caught up in the back and forth. That's not what we're about. We're here to try and resolve some of the issues that Bermuda has. And we're going to try and work together. Now, if they want to work together with us, we have no issue with that whatsoever. And we will do our best to contribute what we can. But one thing that most of the members of the coalition are in agreement is we're not going to go the back and forth. We're just not going to do it because it gets us nowhere and it's a waste of time. Our time is better served coming up with solutions for the community.
Indeed. And one last question from the audience. And Amari Simon's asking, will the movement support independent candidates who aren't part of the movement?
Let me put it to you this way. The collective will not endorse candidates. That's one thing that has been agreed amongst a lot of members, that we will not endorse candidates. It's not like you're a pick candidate, because then that gives you the nod that you're a political party. You know, this pick movement is endorsing this candidate. When we go to the polls at the next election, you will see Suzie Arruda not pick. You'll see Suzie Arruda independent, because that's what we're going to be. Now, anybody who wants to run for office, wants to run in the next election, contact us. We want you to be educated. We will help you. I mean, I was green going into this election. I didn't know what forms to fill out. I didn't know that you had to pay a fee. I didn't know where you could get your constituency list. Didn't know any of that. We're here as a resource for any candidate who's looking for that kind of support and assistance. That's what we want to do. We want to assist the best and the brightest of Bermuda who want to give back to their community to get them where they need to get to. So yes, any candidate who is not part of the initial movement is more than welcome to reach out to us, and we will give you as much support as we possibly can.
Thank you so much for that, Suzie. And before you get out, looking ahead, how do you plan, just remind people, how do you plan to keep people engaged, like through town halls, maybe community outreach? Like, what's the next big step for the coalition? And how can people interested not only get involved, but stay connected to what you're trying to achieve?
Sure. So we've got a couple of town hall events that are going to be happening over the next couple of months. Some of them, they're going to vary in terms of topics. As I mentioned before, some of them will be just about what a PIC is, what it stands for, how it can support the community. Others will be very informative ones, such as I had mentioned about life insurance. People don't understand, how important sometimes it is to have life insurance. We want to educate the public on these kinds of things, or particular investments. Have a town hall on a particular form of investment, how the stock market works. And then you'll have independents who will individually have their own town halls in their constituencies and outside of their constituencies. But in terms of getting a hold of or becoming part of the People's Independent Coalition, if you know your independent candidate, or if you know of an independent candidate, they don't have to be in your constituency, reach out to them. Or you can go on the coalition's website, which is PIC Bermuda spelled out, so picbermuda.com. You can get further information there. We're going to start a membership drive as well for people who want to become members of the People's Independent Coalition without having that party tie, just being able to garner information about how things work and get support for future, so future candidates can get support.
All right, Suzie, thank you so much for making time for us.
No worries. You're welcome.
We appreciate you. And please know that, like with anyone, our platform, we're open to having you. Anything that comes up, please keep us informed so that we can make sure that our audience is engaged and knows what's happening. Otherwise, have a wonderful day, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, Suzie Arruda, People's Independent Coalition. Folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a final break. I'll come back. I'll wrap it up, give my final thoughts on a conversation with Suzie, also the earlier conversation about the recent double murder in Bermuda, and we'll have some fun before that with a daily play. Any Boys to Men fans in the audience? If you're a Boys to Men fan, you want to tune in, you might get this. Stick with us.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda business starts here.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for rocking with us this morning, folks. Thanks again to Suzie Arruda from the People's Independent Coalition for stopping by for that most important community conversation. Thanks again to the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these conversations. Folks, if you haven't already, if you're streaming with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, not TikTok, Twitter X, sorry, or YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure as many people as you know have access to these most important community conversations as possible. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's music. Boys to Men fans, where you at? Here's the question. What does Boys to Men want you to do after you close your eyes and make a wish? Nope, Monica Casey, it's not Meet Me in My Dreams. It is Blow Out the Candlelight, Stacey Ann Brown. It is Blow Out the Candlelight, Anika De Shields. But the song is, I believe, I'll Make Love to You, according to Julie. Yes. Yeah. Make a wish and blow out the candlelight. For tonight is just the night. I'm going to celebrate all through the night. Closure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know the rest. All right. Look, regarding the discussion this morning, I want to go through a few comments that I didn't get to go through. We had Cameron Fox said, Bermudians don't want real change. Our men are playing Fortnite, GTA, real wars happening on Call of Duty. In Australia, young people under 16 can access the internet, real leadership. Dexter Smith says, I celebrate my differentness. Read the murders, look in the mirror, especially the enablers. You know who you are. And we have Renee Simmons says, really, no one cares anymore. It also reflects in the entire community. It's sad, and the end result will be just take whatever, including lives. Leadership is an integral component of society. I'll say this. I think Dexter Smith says what I had said last week. That mirror. It's funny how we can sing the songs like Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror, but we don't even understand what he's trying to tell us. I told you last week, a friend of mine said, instead of looking in the mirror, we use the magnifying glass, right? We have a community that I said last week is sick. Whether it's the lack of decorum and, taking in substances every and anywhere, whether it's a lack of discipline and enabling and encouraging the behavior, defending the behavior, because there are, these are our friends, these are our family, these are people we supposedly love, right? You can't talk bad about my family. You can't talk bad about my friends. We have a problem deep within when we get defensive of bad behavior. A lot of us are guilty of it. A lot of us are guilty of it. As I said earlier, and as Suzie said, this is mainly impacting young Black males. We need to focus and resolve this. Put our heads together, brainstorm. Because the conversations today should not be about 2 more lives lost. They should be about how can we better support our under-19 cricket players or our swimmers who are out there setting records or our upcoming World Cup qualifiers. That's what the conversation should be. But instead, we're sending condolences to the family and friends and the greater community due to another senseless killing. Something has to change. And nothing will change unless we do. As far as the conversation with Suzie Arruda, I greatly appreciate her transparency. I believe there will always be questions regarding the independent candidates until people understand it. But I appreciate that people have the option. I appreciate that people will have that option going forward. And it was not just this, one-time thing. I think one of the questions that will continue to be asked is what makes them different from a political party. And no matter what they say, people will continue to ask that, which is fair. But I appreciate that despite not having anyone present in the Senate or the House, they will continue the town halls and continue to engage in finding solutions for Bermuda and Bermudians. Here's your daily inspiration, folks. I'll leave you with this quote. Not knowing is not an excuse to remain comfortable in your own ignorance. End quote. Moral of the story. We live in the information age. Too much is easily accessible for us to not know and do better. Folks, please, if you haven't already, if you're streaming with us online, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can have these important community conversations with you on a regular basis. On Hot 107.5. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hart, and please do make it a safe and a great day. We are Izelle. Peace.